Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, February 10, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because you know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro model as well as the latest GFS model that came out today. So keep your eyes focused right here on the timestamp at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. Keep your eyes also focused right here on Jamaica as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. Alright, so we can set as we head into Tuesday. Let's see, 12-0 right here on Tuesday is actually 7. So we can see some dots of green in and around the island. Well, more so to the east of us, to the south of it, Haiti right there. Then by Tuesday afternoon, we see some activity across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting forecast. So maybe we might get in on some afternoon rainfall on Tuesday according to this latest Euro GFS, also showing something similar for a Wednesday afternoon, eastern, central, and western Jamaica for sure. Then heading into Thursday morning, we see the greens across eastern parishes, maybe some isolated shores. Then look at this, Tuesday afternoon, even more rainfall across eastern parishes, spilling into sections of some central and western parishes during Thursday afternoon. Friday, just some dots of greens to the southeast of the island. Friday afternoon, showing more of the greens inland. Very interesting forecast too. Saturday, some moisture stretching from the ABC Islands all the way up into portions of Jamaica for Saturday morning, as well as Saturday afternoon across central and western parishes. Sunday, we do see the moisture extending from the south of Hispaniola into portions of southern and eastern parishes in Jamaica, especially during the afternoon. And then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for 12Z on Monday, February 17. And we can see the greens represent moisture in and around the island. Alright, so we're going to be matching what we just saw on the latest Euro to the latest GFS. Let us see if we have some amount of consensus. Alright, so heading into Tuesday, we can see that morning rainfall that northeastern parishes could get in on right there. Tuesday afternoon, central and western parishes, just like what the Euro was showing. Heading into Wednesday, we see the dots of greens across eastern as well as western parishes in Jamaica. Thursday, not so much activity, but look at what happens as we head into Friday. Definitely some rainfall at the end of the day on Friday for sure. Saturday, northeastern parishes, central and western parishes during the afternoon. Sunday, basically something similar to Saturday afternoon. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Monday, February 17. And we can see some greens represent moisture across eastern Jamaica. Very interesting forecast either way. In terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Monday, February 17. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be plaguing those areas that are going to be getting in on those reds, those burgundies, as well as those purples into the pinks. That represents all of what we see here on the key on the right. That's up to 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in the reds into the burgundies, and 3 to 5 inches of rainfall into the purples into the pinks. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across portions of eastern Cuba, northeastern Jamaica, sections of eastern Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, especially the north coast of that country, eastern Puerto Rico into the US and British Virgin Islands, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago into Barbados. And the heaviest of the rainfall, where we see those purples into the pinks, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, eastern Venezuela, southern Venezuela, sections of Colombia, western Venezuela, section of the ABC Islands, section of Panama, northeastern Costa Rica, eastern Nicaragua, eastern Honduras, section of the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, and Guatemala. Clearly gonna be getting in on the most in the way of rainfall for sure. And it's not only the GFS model right here that's showing this, but even the Euro model showing something similar regarding the rainfall totals. So I just hope that the persons who reside in these areas across portions of Central America into Northern and South America are taking necessary precautions so that they're not drastically affected by what's to come, because this rainfall could definitely cause some flood concerns, maybe even some landslides taking place. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the close-up of Jamaica regarding our rainfall forecast. You can clearly see that over the next 7 days, both the Euro and the GFS have a mixture of those blues into greens, represents anywhere from 7 millimeters of rainfall all the way up to maybe 25 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS definitely a bit less robust than the Euro. Euro showing all the greens even into the yellows, that represents anywhere from 25 all the way up to maybe 35 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS only going up to at least 22 millimeters of rainfall. And we can clearly see that both maps showing the most rainfall over the far eastern end of the island, especially across the northeast, across Portland. Either way, whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a ridge of high pressure right here to the northwest of the Cabo Verde Islands that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean, and extending from the United States all the way over to the east into Bermuda and into the northern portion of North Atlantic. We have numerous frontal systems lined out. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out the low level flow of the low level clouds to mid level clouds being steered from east west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. And we can also make out the upper level wind shear blowing those high cirrus clouds off towards the northeast. We can see all of that. Even across Jamaica, we can see some of that extending from northern South America into the main development region and as far as Africa. And we can even make out the clouds associated with the frontal systems extending from the United States all the way up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, February 10, 2025. It was stated that the afternoon would have been definitely dry, but the morning would have brought some rainfall across sections of some northeastern parishes. And when the northeastern parishes, we're basically talking about St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. And although no post was made at that time, we definitely can say that something might have took place in the early morning hours for sure, as usual, especially with that northeasterly flow. And then during the afternoon, the visible satellite images, if we take a look here, we can actually make out some clouds across sections of St. Elizabeth, maybe some isolated showers, and we can also make out the high cirrus clouds being streaked off towards the north and east. Just as predicted, we can see the cirrus clouds even better right here with the blues and greens. Don't worry about this, nothing in the way of thunderstorm activity at all. If we take a look at See Jamaica's YouTube channel right here showing the flat bridge, we definitely had an incident today. Tractor trailer or semi falling off the bridge, or almost falling off. They didn't fall off completely, but these things do happen. And we have the live streams right here, and we saw another vehicle come and help out with the situation. Boy, hits the flat bridge. These things happen for sure. And you can actually go on the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel and rewind the camera to see what exactly took place up to this point. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, you can visit See Jamaica on YouTube and subscribe, because they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what's happening right now across the island. The latest daily image is as of 0115 UTC, which is actually 8:15 p.m. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it's 8:26 p.m. right now. And we can make out the white colors as well as the blues into the greens that represent the high cirrus clouds, all streaking off towards the northeast by that upper level wind shear. Don't worry about rainfall, there's no rainfall embedded in all of this. And we wish we had the Cuban Doppler radar images to show, but this is still showing February 3 into February 4, still not showing up to February 10 as yet. Even the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery not showing much of anything at all. Maybe some isolated shores across the western portion of the western peninsula of Haiti, Not seeing much activity across eastern Cuba and northeastern Jamaica. We don't even see much activity right here across southern Cuba, the Cayman Islands, but we do see some isolated shores right here to the southwest of the Cayman Islands, as well as right here to the south of Westmoreland. If we take a look at what's happening right now, according to See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing crossroads, we can see that it's definitely going to be a fair night. We can see people right here waiting on their transportation, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing drastic in terms of bad weather right now or later on tonight. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see we have 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in yellow colors for the most part that we can see from the key on the right. That represents up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperature for the month of February across Jamaica is around 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.1 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 30.1 to 31.1 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here to highlight from MyJPS Online's Twitter page. And we know that we have to highlight these because when we have power outages across the island, it can definitely exacerbate the heat, making the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down at all. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. Keep in mind that all of these are for Tuesday, February 11, 2025, tomorrow. And we're referring to Adelphi to Content in Trelawney from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're also referring to Kemps Hill as well as Savannah Cross in Clarendon from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. as well as 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we are also referring to Sargood Lane and Sylvester Drive in St. Catherine from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. as well as Fort George, St. Mary, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well as Greenland to Dry Hill and First Brissett in Hanover from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. Says if tomorrow is a bit too hot for you, please ensure that you follow these tips so that you can stay, beating that heat. So it states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And drink lots of water throughout the day. Even if you're not thirsty, put away those sugar drinks, drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can still see an abundance of dry areas represented by all of these reds, oranges, yellows across the entire Atlantic basin. We can see some break in the dry air, the upper level winds, definitely causing the upper level clouds to moisten up the Caribbean for sure in a sense, but not necessarily 100% moist. So definitely still have a cap on the Atlantic in terms of the rainfall. Definitely stable air for sure these days. But we're indeed grateful that in terms of the Saharan, dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, majority of the entire western hemisphere is in the clear because most of the browns represent the Saharan dust should be right here across portion of the main development region. And we're indeed grateful that we're not seeing that vigorous of a plume out there at all, because we know the vigorous plume is represented by the dark shades of browns that can mean very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're grateful that the Saharan dust is way out there for 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, not much change at all. The lowest waves across portion of the Gulf of Mexico, well, the Gulf of America, as they've stated now. Gonna have to get used to that. Into portion of the northwestern Caribbean, where we see the light shades of blues to dark shades of blues that we can see from the key on the bottom right that represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height. We see the purples into the pinks and the burgundies extending from the southern Caribbean all the way across the central to the eastern Caribbean. Definitely some high wave heights. We're talking about 2 to 3, maybe even close to 4 meter wave heights. The north coast tomorrow, 1.5 meter wave height. Down to the south coast, 1.8. Moving to the southeast, maybe all the way up to 2.2. Very interesting. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of a southerly or southeasterly flow across the Gulf of America. We see the greens representing anywhere from 10 to 15 knots. And across the Caribbean, we see more of an easterly to an east-northeasterly flow, especially across the eastern Caribbean. And we see the mixture of bright greens into yellows that represents anywhere from 20 to 25 knots, maybe even gusting as far as 30 knots near Colombia. And if we take a closer look at Jamaica, we can see up to 13 knots expected on the north coast tomorrow from the east-northeast. Coming in from the east, 15 knot winds for sure on the south coast, maybe all the way up to 18 knots in some spots. And we can also see that we have the least amount of winds across sections of some western parishes right here. So that could be where we have that air piling up, bringing us maybe some isolated showers for sure across sections of some western parishes, maybe even inland areas of some central parishes. We'll see how that actually goes. And with the upper level winds coming in from the southwest, the activity could definitely favor most of the action across sections of some northern parishes. Very interesting. Either way, in terms of the rainfall forecast for tomorrow, this map here from the Euro and this map here from the GFS are both showing 6 a.m. on Tuesday. And we can clearly see the blues represent rainfall mainly across the waters to the north of us, as well as onshore, maybe sections of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, getting in on the action. We'll see exactly what unfolds at 6 a.m. I'll definitely keep you posted. Then by around 3 p.m. on Tuesday, we can actually make out the Euro showing rainfall as represented by the blues across mainly central and western parishes. The GFS trying to incorporate central and western parishes too, but more so northern and western parishes. We'll see how it actually unfolds. Either way, if you live in the areas such as Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, maybe section of Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, northern Clarendon, maybe even section of St. Anne, look out for some afternoon rainfall for sure. And even in the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. We see the Euro going all the way up to maybe 0.12 of an inch of rainfall at most. The GFS going all the way up to 0.24 of an inch of rainfall, especially across the northwest. We'll see how it actually plays out, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. And we'll definitely take the rainfall. We'll take as much of it as we can get, because we're in our dry season. We're in the month of February, and in February we usually receive up to at least 19 millimeters of rainfall in Kingston, and in Montego Bay we usually receive up to 2.9 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of February or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. And that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some low level to mid level clouds pushing from east west across the Caribbean, crashing into sections of Central America as we speak, with some amount of cloud showers and windy conditions for sure. And if we take a look at what's happening across the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening down there. Not seeing much across Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, US, and British Virgin Islands right now. But if we load these images from earlier today, we can see where sections of eastern, southern, and southwestern Puerto Rico, we're getting in on some moderate to heavy rainfall, especially across the southwestern end right there with these yellows into reds. We can also see some isolated showers that were affecting the waters in and around Guadeloupe and Dominica. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can currently see some rainfall coming in from the east-northeast to affect Barbados. Some rainfall to the north of there, pushing towards Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenada, getting on some isolated shores as we speak. So too Trinidad and Tobago. And if we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall affecting section of the ABC Islands as we speak. Some rainfall across northern Guatemala that was affecting portion of Belize earlier. And we can also see some isolated shores into portion of northeastern Venezuela, as well as sections of Colombia. And if we take a look at where most of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall should be plaguing section of French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, section of Colombia, sections of eastern Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama in the yellows, oranges, red. While we can clearly see the greens into the yellows, they represent some isolated shower activity expected for section of eastern Cuba, eastern Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, section of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, section of Trinidad and Tobago, getting in on some of the action too. And clearly we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. And we know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.